It is 6:30 here in our studios in Douala, Cameroon, and it is time for Viewpoint on DBS television. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being there for today's edition of the program. We are looking at issues affecting our country, and in today's edition we are going to look at the role of the parliament in Cameroon legislature. You know, the parliament is in session for the March session that began last week. And in tonight's edition of the program, we are having Augustin Wendong. He is a journalist. Good evening, sir. Thank you for being there.
Good evening, Venatius. Good evening, Mr. Kibang. Good evening, dear televiewers. I'm just honored to be part of this panel tonight to a kind of address issues that are affecting national life. Of course, talking parliamentary business.
Of course.
For the 2021 legislative year.
Thank you, sir, for being there. Accompanying him, we have Mr. Kimbang Vitalis. Is a civil society activist. Good evening, sir. Thank you for being there.
Good evening, Venetius. Good evening, Mr. Augustine. It's my pleasure to meet you. I've been seeing on other programs, but I'm very happy to meet you today.
Wow.
Good evening to all the televiewers.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, let us take straight away to part one of the program, the yes and no answer session. Part one of the program, and we'll begin with question one. Mr. Kimbang, I begin with you. Parliamentary mission in the country. Have our MPs forgotten their duty?
No.
Mr. Kimbang thinks no, they have not. Augustine, have they forgotten their duties?
Yes.
Augustine said vehemently, yes, they have forgotten their duties. Augustine, I remain with you with question two. Can the parliament effectively control government's action in this country?
No.
He thinks no, that they cannot. Mr. Kimbang, can they?
No.
Mr. Kimbang thinks as well that they cannot. These are their views. Let us go to part two of the program to hear them out. If you are watching us right now, this is Viewpoint, and we are going live on our Facebook page. Last Thursday, the Cameroon legislature year began with the opening of the March session of Parliament by the parliamentarians in the lower house of chamber and the upper chamber, that is the Senate and the National Assembly. During the opening session, the eldest member of the Parliament indicated that government's action should or must be controlled, that they are determined to control government action, and equally indicated that they condemn the killings going on in the Anglophone crisis. I begin with you, Mr. Augustine. Has the Cameroon Parliament ended or just condemning what is happening in this crisis, the killing of innocent Cameroonians, or they still know what is their duty as the representative of the people?
You rightly said, I wanted us to know what, when they talked about parliament, the role of parliamentarians.
Yes.
Parliamentarians are representatives of the people. Means that each parliamentarian comes from a constituency.
Yes.
And the duty of that parliamentarian is to carry to the hemicycle the plight,
the worries,
yes, and the needs of the said people. And if you look at the parliamentary nomenclature of Cameroon, this is completely left out because first and foremost, to go to what is called parliamentary micro project grants allocated to each parliamentarian in Cameroon is just like, a little like 8.5 million francs. But I don't want to say that the problem here is the sum.
Yes, the amount.
The amount.
Yes.
The problem here is the presence of each parliamentarian. It's in his or her constituency. In the Cameroonian sense of it, you find that parliamentarians are only seen during electoral consultations,
yes,
electoral campaigns. Once they are voted, you hardly see them in their constituency. When the wars come to the worst, you find them coming with corrugated sheets of zinc, either to a primary school or to give drinks and bags of rice,
or textbooks and packets of chalks, and
which is not even their duty. To didactic material is not what a parliamentarian should do. A parliamentarian should see, is there potable water in this community, farm to market roads? These are, health facilities. This is what a parliament, a legislature, or an MP is supposed to do. But when you look at it, it's not what is the reality is completely absent from the field. You just made mention of the Anglophone crisis. This is a crisis that has gone down the road, 5 years down the road. Some are saying 4 years plus. I say 5 years down the road. And thousands of Cameroonians have died and are still dying. No bill has been tabled. No debate.
It has not featured in the agenda.
It has not a future on the agenda of the parliamentarians.
Yes.
So what are you telling me about a mission? A mission of parliamentarians is to legislate laws that will protect life and property. But these are Cameroonians dying like dogs. And they are sitting there drinking champagne and chasing their contracts to light up their pockets. And you tell me that these are parliamentarians? Unfortunately, this is because the lower house of parliament, that is the hemicycle, is controlled by a one party. All right? They have a crushing majority. And those who could make things happen have fewer. And their voices cannot be heard. Even when the parliamentary opposition had a parliamentary group, I have watched, because I don't want to be a pessimist, I have watched parliamentarians of an opposition party whistling and dancing and shouting in parliament. But their peers who were the majority turned a deaf ear. They were now playing to what is called party discipline.
Discipline, yes.
How can party discipline surpass the dignity?
Yes.
No, the interest of the common man who voted them. And that gives me the audacity to say here without fear of favor that this is not just because of party discipline, it's because of many of them were catapulted. They were not elected. They were catapulted to parliament. Because if they were really elected, that they have a mandate to answer back to the people. Because a parliamentarian who have mandate is one who comes back,
gives the feedback,
a feedback
to his people,
to his electorate,
the people who sent him there,
those who sent him there,
okay,
and even carry out consultations. What do you people want?
What is your need?
What is your need?
Yes.
What are your priorities? This is a parliamentarian. Tell me one.
Okay. I will take that question with Mr. Kimbang, who thinks that these MPs have not forgotten their duty as people's representative. And Mr. Kimbang, Augustine indicated here that our MPs, that they may not be able to go back to their people and give a feedback that this is what I have done for the 1 year I've been in parliament, for the 4 years or the 5 years I've been in parliament. And you think that they have not forgotten their duty?
The thing is that, Mr. Manga, we cannot condemn the whole 180 parliamentarians that are
yes.
there. The problem lies at the grassroots during the selection of those who are to go to the parliament.
Yes.
You know, the black man's politics is a politics that does not look at the quality of the person that is going to parliament. They look at the quality, they look at the party. For example, I come from I come from Camer. I've stayed in Kumbu, I've stayed in Du. It's easy to hear somebody in Du say that they took an oath that they can never vote for a ruling party. Meaning that if somebody stands
as a parliamentarian,
yes, on the opposition side, who is not capable, who will go and not bring anything, he will still win. So the problem goes back to the people. Because if people are voted according to their capacity, according to the way that you see them pushful, I think they will bring something. If you look at what is happening in Dongamanton today, when I talk, I go to where I'm very versed with.
It's normal.
You will discover that Dongamanton, as far as politics is concerned, is an exception because the people have realized that they are not going for parties, but they are going for people who can deliver the goods. And when you go to Cameroon today, you discover that the goods are really being delivered. So we cannot say that the whole 180 parliamentarians, they cannot deliver the goods. Some of them cannot. And we cannot say that the blame goes only to the ruling government. We have people in the opposition party that since the creation of multipartyism in Cameroon,
they have been MPs.
They have been MPs.
Yes.
Are we not saying that they are the best people that comes from that community? No. It's just because that issue of party politics. They don't vote people who are capable of doing something. They are voting people because you belong to so and so party. And that is where the problem starts from. If you notice something, look at the parliament the other time. Honorable Weber came up, he stood in the parliament and spoke for his people. How many SDF MPs went to stand, who supported him? They all shy away because they thought that Weber has done what nobody has ever done. But later, a few months later, they went and were blowing whistles, hitting some funny things in parliament. If they had all gone up and supported Weber, what he said, maybe this thing would have come.
Is it not like...
I was even surprised that even the national chairman of SDF said that Weber spoke for himself, he did not speak for SDF.
Okay. Is it not like saying that these MPs, they don't even master, what they're supposed to do there?
Some of them don't even master what they're supposed to do there. Some. But we cannot condemn all the 180 parliamentarians. Some of them don't even know why they are there. That is the truth. Because they are being pushed there because maybe in an area where he comes from, there was no person that was better than him that stood for the party that the whole community wanted to send to parliament.
Mr. Kimbang, when Augustine was speaking, he made mention of the fact that part of the majority of the parliament is being controlled by one political party, the ruling party. And experience has proven that once you are not from the ruling party, you have setbacks for you to realize your dream. Could that also be? No,
that is not the truth. Because those are the complaints that people have been given. And even they go right down to the grassroots. I lived in Kumbu. Mayor Njong, we look at Kumbu. Kumbu has been an opposition stronghold. Yes. Just because the crisis came and triple Kumbu. Kumbu has been an opposition stronghold, but when you go to Kumbu, you discover that Kumbu was growing at a very fast rate. Yes. But one opposition stronghold. Yes. So those who go to parliament and they are unable to deliver,
those who don't.
Very good. Are those who are not pushful?
Mr. Kimbang, we have parliamentarians who do not, yes, Mr. Augustine, I will come back to you immediately, who do not even live in their constituencies. They don't even know the need of the people. They don't know what it means to go without electricity, what it means to go without water. Do you think that they can have that potency, that boldness to stand in the assembly and tell those who decide that my people do not have electricity, my people do not have water, because they don't live there?
No, the problem is not living in that area. Okay. The problem is being able to feel for your people. Yes, because I will not say that somebody, a parliamentarian who owns business in Douala, should go and stay in the village. No, if you can feel for your people, if you know that this is what the people need, we all grow in the village and we know the various needs. So that some of the parliamentarians that we choose at the grassroots, they don't even know why they are going there. But we cannot. Well, I'm saying that we cannot condemn all the 180 parliamentarians.
Okay, that we'll come back to you, Augustine.
I just want to tell Mr. Kimbang that I'm not from Kmer. Yes. I'm from Gokutunja. But I know that if they want to talk about politicking in this country, Kmer would have been an Esterado. Because from the Honorable Tamfo, okay, yes, he was a Politburo member of the CPDM. When the Central Committee is sitting near President Biya, but he did nothing from Kmer. In the advent of multi-party politics, Kmer saw a glimmer of light from SDF parliamentarians like Honorable Agudu Mbayas, yes, and the Estangalas. Very good. Okay? Why is he quoting Kmer today because Kmer happened to have been the only division
Area?
in the northwest region
Not affected?
that is not affected.
Yes.
And they only know what they are doing because they might be affected tomorrow. So my brother here cannot tell me that Kmer is developing. It is a lie. I want to tell him that an SDF parliamentarian is compared. I want to say an opposition parliamentarian. And when I want to talk coming from the Northwest, I'll talk about SDF because another party has not had representative
Like the
there.
SDF, yes.
An SDF parliamentarian is compelled to use his micro project grants well because he's answerable to the people. There's a time he has to come back to the people to give stewardship. It has, who can they question a CPDM parliamentarian? Where on earth?
That is the error. That is the error.
No, it's not the error. It is their way of operation. It is their way of operation. They are very cut off from the masses. And I want to correct my brother on the other side, Mr. Kimbang. Let me tell you, there are no independent parliamentarians in Cameroon.
Yes.
Honorable Wiba had the mandate of the SDF to mount the Kmer cycle to cause that political tornado. He had. And Chairman Frundi welcomed him, granted him a reception.
No.
And Tarikun, let me tell you,
Yes.
let me tell you, I am a journalist. I talk from investigation. When Frundi said Wiba was talking for himself, is when he returned to Jakiri and were organizing rallies. Without the idea of the party. That is where Chairman Frundi said he is talking for himself.
But for having spoken in the National Assembly?
In the National Assembly, let me tell you, my gentle brother, that if we did not have the mandate of the SDF, if we have spoken in Jakiri like a common man, his head would have rolled. But he had the audacity, the prerogative to mount the restroom and even told the speaker, the speaker of the National Assembly, please, sir, you cannot stop me. I will go on. Because he had the mandate.
That is what I'm saying.
And let me tell you,
the problem lies at the grassroots.
Yes. No,
how many of such Wibas are in the
I will come back to tell you.
Yes.
I will come back to tell you that the Martin Luther King Jr. could only come up at a time. Every generation
has
their own heroes.
Yes.
And their heroes are never two. That is why even right now, I'm not a politician. I'm not fronting for any political party. That is why right now in opposition politicking in Cameroon, nobody is beating Frundi. Because he had his epoch. All right? Until we turn to know that in politicking, you say the grassroots do not rightly choose.
Yes.
I say no. Going by the electoral code of Cameroon, let me tell you, it is about whose pocket is
heavy.
Very
good.
It's not about a democratic exercise.
Meaning that the opposition that is fighting for democracy is not also democratic.
No, it's democratic. Let me tell you, because you are talking today.
Yes.
You cannot tell me that the municipal and legislative election of 2018 were elections in the Northwest and the Southwest region. No.
But people were elected there.
No, who? All of them there, they were catapulted. All of them there. And that is why Olejer Angala can be making noise in Kmer. No. And let me tell you, and that is why he's making noise, because the powers that be are behind him.
Okay.
Not that powers that be are behind him.
They are behind him.
Okay.
Let me tell you, he cannot freely go to Kmer without armored cars.
Okay.
No, in Kmer he moves around like a free man.
I say he cannot drive to Kmer without armored cars.
He cannot drive to Kmer because he has to pass through dangerous areas.
That's the point.
But while in Kmer, he can even go and put a chair outside and sleep outside.
Why can't he go to Ndu freely?
No, he goes freely. He goes to Ndu freely.
All right, we will get to question 2 because of time constraint. We are talking about the management of state affairs. We are talking about the management of, the management being carried out by government ministers. And the eldest member of parliament indicated when the 2021 legislative year was opening that they are more determined than ever before to control government's action. Mr. Kimbang, you think that MPs are not capable, they cannot control government's action. Can we hear you?
Yes, it is very true that MPs cannot really control government action, because at the end of it all, it is still the head of state that decides. So whatever they do, it still goes back to the head of state to give a final say. And so it is practically very difficult for them to really control government action.
Because they tell us in Cameroon that Cameroon government is made up of 3 arms of government. We have the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. What is happening with the legislative arm of government?
No, everything is being controlled from the head. So it is practically very difficult for Parliament to exercise its duties.
Is it that they don't know what to do, or they know what to do but they are blocked from doing what?
No, they know what to do but they are blocked. Yes, they know what to do but they are blocked. When you look at the constitution of the country, there are a lot of clauses there that hinders them from hinder them from exercising their full rights. That's the truth.
But we are talking about the constitution. These are laws of the country.
Yes.
These are lawmakers. And then there are still laws that prohibit them from carrying out their function. Isn't it kind of contradiction?
There is a very big contradiction, very big contradiction, because at the end of it all, they make the laws and they still put the head of state as the overall, meaning that he still appoints people in the judiciary and the rest. So it is practically very difficult for people to function freely without.
In this case, Mr. Kmer, what would you propose for these MPs who are watching at us and would want to have a way through in order to carry out their duties as people's representative?
No, the only thing that if you want to carry out their duty freely, then they have to amend some of the clauses that are found in the constitution. So, for example, when you say the head of state, after he has been retired, he still has the immunity. That means he can do and undo, knowing that after
nobody
can question him.
Yes,
and that clause is extremely a very dangerous clause, which they should have to look at it. Yes.
Okay, Augustine, you are of the opinion that these MPs cannot effectively control government's action in Cameroon.
Yes, because we are in a highly presidentialist system, where the head of state is chief executive, chief of armed forces. He is the highest magistrate. So everything is referred to him. And I say this is unfortunate because a crushing majority of the parliamentarians is coming from the ruling party.
Yes.
If we have a strong parliamentary opposition, they will turn the tides. They will amend the constitution because they will table bills. They will move against motions and things will change. But unfortunately, the electoral code are tailored things to favor the ruling party, to the extent that if there are 5 persons voting, they carry the day. And until the electoral code, you ask a question to my brother that what advice? The only thing that can be done to this legislature to turn things is either a rebellion from the house. And most of the parliamentarians, because they are not really democratically elected, they cannot rebel. So the only thing is a constitutional amendment.
Does it go back to the grassroots, like Mr. Kembang was saying, that we should vote in those who can?
At this level,
yes,
the hands of the parliamentarians are tied by the constitution.
Okay.
When we look at the constitution, Article 37, subsection 3 says that the president of the republic shall guarantee the independence of the judicial power. He shall appoint members of the bench and members of the legal department. Meaning that when these people are appointed, they are bound to work according to his whim and caprices, because once you appoint me, I don't work by whims and caprices. You cannot
buy the finger that fits
very
you.
Good. You cannot buy the finger that fits you.
So in this case, you say that all they need to do is to rebel against.
Yes.
And the question I was asking is it Cameroonians? Can Cameroonians have anything to do in relation to this?
No, Cameroonians can't, because the only thing we are talking here about parliamentary business. They have voted people to go and defend their interests. The people are not, they are absent. The people are not capable of causing a rebellion. Let me tell you that there was an MP, Amadou Musa, Adamu Musa, that rebelled. One time he was from the far north region. Since then, have you heard about him?
He has been silent.
They have been silent. Why? Because most of them are skeletons in their cupboard. Honorable Weber could talk.
Because his
and
hands
talk freely.
Yes.
Because he has no cobwebs. Yes.
Okay, Mr. Augustine, we are talking of some parliamentarians who you don't even know whether they exist. They go to the parliament, nobody can talk for the whole session. The 1 month they will spend, maybe 5 years.
They clap, sleep in hotels, drink wine, come back, and nothing, no impact.
That is why we are saying that the grassroots selection is very, very important.
It is not the grassroots, in as much as I want to agree with my brother on one thing, is that Cameroonians should be politically mature. Political maturity is not changing people of the same political outfit.
Yes.
Are you getting me?
Yes.
What I blamed Cameroonians first is that Cameroonians have completely fade out when they have not even started from politicking, from political issues.
Yes. From past experiences.
From 1992, I can give you statistics of registration into the electoral register and those who have gone to the polls.
Okay.
You will see that that number, you have nothing to write home about.
Okay.
Cameroonians will spend time, the results are connect. The results are known. They sit drinking beer and womanizing without taking their destinies into their hands.
Very good.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying that when they do all these things,
the destiny into their hands, Mr. Kimber,
they end up selecting people that are not capable.
It is not about selecting people. Once the people cannot go to the poll at mass,
yes, they cannot change.
They dictate upon them.
Very good.
Yes,
and that is why.
So
if you cannot vote, you don't have any right to complain.
Okay. Gentlemen,
that is it. That I agree.
Gentlemen, our time.
But I want to say that Cameroonians should put their names on to the
voters
electoral register.
Actually,
and when time comes, they should go vote people of integrity
who can deliver the goods
in Cameroon.
Who can deliver the goods?
You are not coming to my point.
Thank you, gentlemen.
No, I'm not coming to your point because somebody who had been 40 years. And has not done a thing.
Yes.
We experienced the SDF mayor in our village just for a mandate.
And you know what?
Bridges were constructed.
Okay.
Markets were constructed.
All right, gentlemen.
Been in parliament
gentlemen, thank you. Thank you so much. I think we are going out, gentlemen, with this, that Cameroonians should go register into the electoral registers and change things so that we can vote in parliamentarians who are able to deliver the goods. That is what we are coming out with in today's edition of the program. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end, and we would inform you that tomorrow we will still be there for another edition. Up next, we have the news in the English language with Cynthia Ngwemo. We'll be back tomorrow. Good night.